Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so we got a brand new chapter of Black Clover out, and this one was actually pretty short. It was pretty fast to read, but at the same time, it was still interesting. It had a lot of good, it had like a good balance of dialogue and action in it. And we got to see some pretty interesting things, like some interesting stuff from Asta. We got to see some more from Gordon and Gray actually doing things. Henry was involved. We even get a little bit of Raditz and Valtos during the chapter, and we finally got to see fucking Gauche and Marie in their elf forms actually doing something, which, by the way, we actually see the kind of magic that Marie could possibly end up having once she gets her grimoire and actually, starts to develop as a mage. Which, after seeing this chapter, she's a little OP. Now, I do want to mention that this chapter is actually taking place before the end of the last chapter. It's actually taking place during the time when Vanessa and them were still stuck in the dream world. Pretty much picking up exactly right after they went into the dream world, actually. And we basically get this. We actually start off the chapter by basically benching both Noelle and Zora while getting rid of Yami and Jack at the same time. And it's kind of interesting because it's actually kind of cool the way they do it. So basically, to get rid of Jack and Yami, the two of them just kind of leave. They kind of just run off to go fight in the headquarters by themselves against the big bads in the elf crew, while leaving Gauche, Marie, and all the other elves that are there on the ground for Asta, Noelle, and all of them to fight against. Now, they actually do get rid of Noelle and Zora in an interesting way, basically by saying that the two of them have used up so much of their mana that they're kind of out of fight for now, which is it's kind of cool because at the same time, on one hand, it gets rid of them for this fight so we can focus on Asta, Henry, Gordon, and Gray. And at the same time, you don't have to worry about them not being on the fight anymore for the rest of the arc because we know that Charmy and them get out of the dream world. So as soon as Charmy gets back, she can refill everyone's mana using her own magic. So we started the fight between Asta and his crew versus the elves, and I forget if it was Gouch who did it or not, but someone basically broke the ground below them and actually started making them fall down. And we actually get to see a pretty interesting combination between Gray and Gordon in this moment, where Gordon uses his poison magic to create a cloud of poison below them, and then Gray uses her transformation magic to actually turn it into cotton, basically copying Charmy's magic ability, turning the poison into cotton so they could actually have a safe landing. And then as soon as she does that, Raditz and Valtos just kind of dip. Like, literally, Raditz just tells Valtos, hey, open up a portal, get us the fuck out of here, because we're going to the headquarters to fight off against Patry. Which, you know what, I actually want to talk about this real quick, because we only get to see these two for a brief moment during the chapter, and that's, like, when we see them falling, and then when Raditz tells Valtos to actually portal them out of there. And when I was reading the chapter, it had me thinking, or had kind of reaffirmed my, like, suspicion that maybe Raditz is actually in control of Valtos now. Because ever since we got the resurrection, ever since the three of them came back using Raditz' magic ability, we've seen Valtos been kind of like subservient to Raditz a little bit. Like, he's been kind of like more willing to listen to him, as opposed to when he was in the beginning of the series when the two of them were introduced. We saw that it was kind of switched around. Raditz was kind of like the subservient one to Valtos. Now, it could just be the fact that Valtos is just like his will's kind of broken because he was so devoted to Patry, and then Patry betrayed them that he's kind of just like, I don't know what to do anymore, so I'm just going to follow orders from whoever gives them. But at the same time, it could be implying that maybe Raditz has a little bit of control over Valtos. I mean, it's all going to come down to whether or not he can actually give Sally the same kind of orders. I haven't seen him do that yet. So if she comes back and we see him basically barking orders at her and she's like doing things that she wouldn't normally do because he told her to, then I guess I can kind of go into the idea that, yeah, he is actually in somewhat control of them. Anyway, yeah, the two of them dip, and then we basically see Asta, Gordon, Gray, and Henry, the four of them teaming up basically to try to save Gouch or try to take down Gouch and Marie. Which, by the way, those two were fucking impressive in this chapter. Alright, so Gouch, he uses his normal attack. He uses his mirrors. He creates a whole bunch of mirrors around him. But what's interesting about this is the fact that he doesn't use his normal like laser beam from his mirrors that he usually uses to kill people. What he actually does is he does a combination magic attack with Marie. He brings mirrors all around him, and then he has Marie's magic, which her magic ability is basically that she has eye abilities where basically anyone who looks at her eyes is paralyzed and basically loses their mana. And that's what she actually does to them in the chapter. She basically paralyzes all of them and starts draining away their mana because they looked at her eyes through the mirrors. And it's like I said in the beginning of the video, if this magic that the elf inside Marie is using right now is the same type of magic that Marie will actually have when she gains her grimoire, she'll be a little bit OP, especially when you think about the fact that she'll actually gain more spells, she'll actually have new creative ways to use her eye magic. Plus, if she ends up working with Gouch in the future as like a magic knight, then the two of them, their combination attack as we see in this chapter, is very, it's very strategic. It's very offensive and defensive at the same time. Can, paralyze your opponents, stop them in their tracks. And the only reason why Asta and them are actually able to even break out of it is because Asta uses his new sword that he stole from Lich, like earlier on in the arc, that basically dispels curses and dispels magic abilities. So without that, they would have stayed trapped inside that that paralytic state. And you know what? Now after seeing the two of them use their combination of magic like this, I'm kind of hoping once they actually free Gouch and Marie from the elf's control, that Marie will still actually be able to use this type of magic a little bit and actually be able to help out in the fight a little bit. Because I'd love to see her and Gouch on the good side, teaming up against the elves using this magic to basically stop them in their tracks. Because this could be a good way to basically get rid of all the fodder elves that they don't really have to focus on, using the two of them to basically just stop them in their tracks, paralyze them so they can't really be involved in the fight, so that everyone else can have time to focus on the named characters. But anyway, yeah, Asta actually manages to break them all free from the spell. And then we actually see Gouch use a move or try to send an attack at them. And then we get this kind of cool moment where we actually see Gordon, Gray, and Henry all basically deflect the attack and kind of power up a little bit more as they're deflecting it. And then they deflect it at Asta. Then he uses his magic sword to deflect it right back at Marie and Gouch, which obviously it doesn't really do any damage to them. But at the same time, it's basically just them declaring war on the two of them, which is basically what they do at the end of the chapter. We actually get a cool moment where actually even get to see Gouch scream, or Gordon scream for a little bit, where basically all four of them kind of talk about how creepy and how kind of weird Gouch is, but at the same time he's their friend, so they're basically going to try to save him. And that's pretty much where the chapter ends, with the four of them basically deciding to team up to take on Gouch and Marie in order to save the two of them. Now I actually really like this chapter because it actually was kind of cool. We actually got to see a lot of good team ups. Like we got to see Gray and Gordon team up, use combination magic in a way I never thought they could. We got to see Marie and Gouch team up, which was actually really interesting to see exactly what kind of magic Marie could possibly end up having. But if I had to have one critique of this chapter, it's the fact that I'm not sure. It's kind of weird because one thing we know about Henry, the first thing we find out about Henry is the fact that he is supposed to be able to, his curse, or like his body automatically drains the mana from people around him. That's why the only person who actually able to like withstand being around him for long periods of time was Asta, because he actually doesn't have any like magic energy inside him. But for some reason in this chapter, Gordon and Gray were fine being close enough to Henry that his ability should have been draining it from them. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like Tabata forgot the fact that that's what Henry's body does. Now it could be explained later in the chapter, like maybe like later on in the fight they're being drained by Henry so much that they actually tap out of it early on. But as of this chapter, it seems like he kind of forgot about that. So I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. But yeah, that was pretty much the only critique I had for the chapter. Other than that, I actually really enjoyed it. I actually really liked it. The art was great as always. It's the pacing, the combination between the action and story development was amazing as always. If I had to give it a rating, which I don't really do for my reviews, but I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the review. That's it for the chapter. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts and theories. And also, I just started this, so follow me on my Twitter account. I just started for this little YouTube channel. Same name as a channel, Manga Archives. Just follow me on Twitter. There's a link for that in the description down below. But yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.